Hello and happy October to everyone, and welcome to and happy Saturday to everyone out there. It is another episode of Party Chat, episode 7. Thank you for anyone who may be joining or watching on the replay. We've got some great topics to talk about today, and we've got my good buddy Mark, as usual.
Hello.
Hey, and we got and the puppies. Can't forget about JoJo and Rocky.
Yeah.
I've known a few dogs named Rocco, so I always have to correct myself and say Rocky.
Yeah, he's Rocky, like the boxer. See, he's a proud Italian boy.
And our awesome guest for today is Beard of Liberty, who I have seen in chats a lot, but this is our first time talking face to face. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll be talking about some video games. But before Ryan unfortunately can't make it again. He's got lots of stuff going on IRL. Hopefully he'll be able to make it for next episode, where we'll be talking about some kind of spooky themed games, since it'll be the last one before Halloween. So before we get into our topics, I like talking about first what we have been playing lately. But the thing that I always forget to ask my guest is to give us a little bit of background on your gaming history, what kind of consoles you grew up on, and what maybe some of your favorite games are.
All right. Well, earliest I would say would be an old Atari that my parents had. That honestly, my brother and I spent more time acting like it was like a Starship console with the switches than actually playing it. But I was a Nintendo kid growing up, so NES, Super NES, Nintendo 64, GameCube, all that stuff. My brother eventually kind of branched off and he went the PlayStation route, so we kind of had all that at the same time. I kind of fell off with consoles after the Xbox 360 and switched over to PC after that.
Okay.
I actually still have my day one launch day Xbox 360 controller. Wow. It's got a lot of stick drift in there, but still works. But yeah, these days it's mostly PC stuff.
Okay. What was that, Mark? You're chiming in there with something?
I just said pretty based.
Yeah, pretty based. Yeah. Xbox is still recovering from that disastrous E3 where they announced the Xbox One. Yeah. I think Game Pass has done a lot to help recover their image, but yeah, they're still, as Phil Spencer said, losing the console war.
I mean, as you can probably tell, it still has a little bit of a special place in my heart, the Xbox Live sign and the Halo 3. So
good game. Okay. Well, thank you for giving us a little background. What would you say are a couple of your favorite franchises?
Halo, definitely. I tend to go towards shooters. And then I would say probably the Fallout games and Elder Scrolls, but specifically Skyrim, because it's ultimately endlessly moddable and you can change the game as much as you want and create a totally different experience.
Good game.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're getting a little background on you, and then we'll move on into what we've been playing lately. Mark, you've been playing the new Phantom Liberty, I think?
Yeah, I finished it, actually, or at least with one of my characters. I liked it quite a bit, but the last week I've almost been exclusively playing Lies of P.
Oh, that's right.
I got really pulled into Lies of P. I think it's incredible. I think it's a very, very good game. Kind of way better than I thought it could be. I wasn't even too impressed with the demo. I wasn't really planning on playing it, but there was one guy in my chat, Not So Grump, who was consistently telling me to play it, and I was just kind of like, yeah, no, like I'm not going to dive into a whole other Souls. Like I'm amazed I was able to get through Armored Core 6 before like Starfield came out and stuff. Jojo.
Very temperamental Jojo. Well, cool. I haven't actually heard anyone talk about Lies of P yet, so I have not heard anyone, good or bad, say anything about it. So
the thing that really got me playing it was I was on Metal's Forge on Metal Commander's channel last Friday, so a little bit over a week ago, 8 days ago, and they were Mahler and Metal Commander were talking about Lies of P, and then Mahler was just like, Mark, have you played Lies of P? I was like, yeah, I played the demo. It didn't really click with me, so I decided to skip it. He's like, you should play it. You should play it. It's a very good Souls. Like, man, Metal Commander's like, it's on Game Pass, and I'm like, all right, I'm downloading it right now because Game Pass does make it easy to just try a game. And now I'm regretting that I didn't buy it on Steam because I love this game so much that I definitely want to own it. So I'm gonna pick up the Steam copy, and now I have to replay the entire game from scratch. And the first playthrough through one of these games is generally the most difficult because that's the one where you have nothing for your health bar, nothing for your stamina bar, and you have to kind of keep going with it. But what really got me is both of them, both Metal Commander and Mahler, when they said like ultimately would you pick Lies of P or Elden Ring, and both of them said Lies of P. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, I was like, that's pretty high praise.
That's quite a ringing endorsement.
Well, what's crazy is I don't even disagree. They're very different structurally. Elden Ring is very expansive. You've got your horse and everything, and you can kind of go around and just explore a world. Whereas Lies of P is very linear. It's like a dungeon sequence and then a boss sequence, and then a dungeon sequence and then a boss sequence. And you can go back and explore and travel to all the different bonfires. Effectively, they're called stargazer points or whatever, but like it's a bonfire, same shit. So they have a lot of secrets in there, but they do a lot of things that the Souls games from do not do, like not give you quest indicators, but when you look at your fast travel points, if there's an icon of someone's face or an icon of an item, it means you have something to talk to that person there about. It doesn't say what, it doesn't say like which subquest you're tracking. It doesn't give you a little waypoint to show you exactly where you are. It's just this person can be found at this fast travel point in the general area. They need to talk to you about something. Go ahead, and usually when you do, you not only get very shockingly well written lore, like the story in this game and the way they've adapted the Pinocchio fairy tale into a brutal, gritty, like Bloodborne type game is shockingly awesome in that like it looks most aesthetically like Bloodborne, but this is arguably a science fiction story because it has more in common with things like iRobots than it does with
that movie.
Because the idea is that basically sub-automaton humans for puppets. And Pinocchio, the way they frame his ability to lie is as his humanity. Because he can tell someone a lie that might spare them a brutal truth because he knows it's the more human thing to tell this person. And so you'll find yourself being given the choice to tell the truth or lie. Not like it doesn't say truth or lie. It gives you the actual things to say. But if you've played and been paying attention, you know which one of them is a truth and you know which one of them is a lie. And 99% of the time, telling them the lie is the right thing to do from a moral standpoint. And you would make that choice because, like, for example, there's one guy a girl who makes some gloves, and she says, "Give it to this adventurer." You give it to him, and he says, "Oh God, these are disgusting. Like they don't fit me at all. Like these are terrible." And then that guy goes off, and you know that he's not going to be seen in your good graces again. So when she says like, "Oh, did you give him the gloves? How do you like it?" You can say, "Yeah, he said that they were terribly made and that he hated them," or "No, he loved them. He loved them, and he says thank you very much." And you know that lie is better for her because she's not going to see the guy again. He's not going to ever be able to say, "Yeah, those gloves are absolutely horrendous." So all you're doing is hurting her feelings by telling the truth. So like, I mean, there's a lot of things like that they do with the Pinocchio mythology that's really interesting. The combat is arguably the best Souls-like combat because it's got Sekiro's parry system, but much more deliberate. So you're not tapping block in like you're playing a Tool song with like 30-second notes and off-time rhythm. It's more like, okay, block, and now the person's staggered, and then you go in, but you don't get like an instant kill for a stagger. You can then knock the guy down to get like a critical hit, but it's got a really interesting pace. It kind of combines a lot of the best things about From Software's games. This is this studio's first game.
Wow.
And they're Korean, and they made a damn good video game.
Awesome. Yeah. Having it be on Game Pass makes it a very low barrier to entry. So
Phantom Liberty 2, I thought was quite good. I think the storyline in it is awesome. I like the new characters. I think Idris Elba is great. Like they really did spend their money well with him. Where I think the example of the thing I played where it was Megan Fox in Mortal Kombat 1 was a perfect example of celebrity money not being used well. Whereas here, you can make an argument as to why it was worthwhile to pay Idris Elba to do this role. Now,
he's a much better actor.
Well, that's the thing. And often the argument's made, it's like, well, but think of all the video game voice actors that are just as good that could be getting these roles. And I was like, yeah, I think fair enough. And in most cases, that is correct. But every so often they'll do a celebrity voice cast thing where it's like, oh, terrible. This guy brought his A game and he's a good actor. So it's hard to not like enjoy him in it. And it's a really kind of neat, like Escape from New York type premise where there's effectively a Colonel Kurtz, like from Apocalypse Now type guy who's just controls this section of Night City that's like walled off called Dogtown. That, I mean, you could have always driven by the entrance to it, but you could never go in. Now you can go in it. And you have this sort of espionage spy thing where there's a Netrunner girl and a secret agent guy, and it deals with the president of the new United States of America, and it adds a new ending to the game, which if anyone goes to my channel and watches my little quick thoughts in it, I had not seen the new ending, so I don't mention it there. But yeah, it's a bit depressing, but it is a new ending, which does technically give some people what they wanted, which lacked from the other two Cyberpunk endings. But you probably don't want it the way you get it, though.
Yeah, given all the praise I've been hearing about it with the Phantom Liberty, I definitely have. I was never planning on playing it, but given all the praise I've been hearing about it, I'll definitely put it on my wish list. And when it drops down to a good amount, because I won't be playing it for a very long time, but I think I will put it in my backlog to play at some point.
I mean, you have all the Cyberpunk 2077 2.0 upgrades already. The only things you can't do is you can't go to level 60. You don't get the relic powers, which are these, like, there's 3 new abilities that kind of affect a couple different things. I quite liked the one I used a lot because it gave an alternate critical hit spot. So not just a head, someone would be like their elbow would now be a critical hit that you could then hit because it's a weak spot in their cyberware or something like that. So it's like detect weakness. And but I mean, not super necessary. The real big thing with Cyberpunk now, though, is if you already own it, you have the new version of the game,
right? Yeah,
because they just
update was free.
Upgrade they just gave to everyone. And what I think's crazy about that is now the game really knows what it is in a way that it was struggling with before. Because I think that the big criticisms you could give of Cyberpunk is that it's not enough of an RPG, and like I wanted to be able to just make this full-on like Fallout 4 style or Fallout 3, whatever, like really craft my character and go on this grand adventure that I can do in all these outcomes. Where I'm like, there are choices in Cyberpunk, but realistically, what the game is, it's a Far Cry game more than a Fallout.
Yeah,
it is an open world action shooter. It just looks like it should be something much more complex, because instead of being in wide open island or whatever environments that Far Cry is in, it's like a big city with a lot going on in it. But ultimately, it's kind of a mobility and perk based shooter, and the new perk system sort of streamlines that and rebalances the whole game. So now it's not about becoming a super overpowered cyberware god that just wrecks everybody. It's about just being a good fighter in Night City, as far as like, but like you're kind of on the same level as everyone else now. Like V doesn't become just a cyber god that, like, I mean, I always said that the craziest thing about my Netrunner build in my 1.6 playthrough is I could look at a security camera outside of a building and murder everyone inside of it without ever walking in. Because I could just the security camera, go to all the other security cameras, and anyone I see on the camera, I can do like a contagion hack on that basically gives them a poison status that starts spreading to other people, because you have these multi-hack spread things that eventually you can start doing things like spreading suicide, so everyone in the building starts killing themselves.
My goodness.
And it's pretty wild. But now your RAM, which is basically your mana, is a lot more limited. So even when you're doing a Netrunner build, you got to be a little bit sneakier. You got to throw in some gunfighting or something, or
Not
use
quite
stealth.
So overpowered.
More effect. Yeah, and for me though, it was really, really interesting jumping into Phantom Liberty, because my build is like, well, not unlike Gray Fox here, right there. It's like a cyborg ninja build where I didn't use any guns. I just used or spells. I didn't have any hacks, no guns.
You're just using knives and swords, right?
A katana and 2 throwing knives, yeah. And I had a Sandevistan, so every so often I could go into slow motion, which made things a lot crazier. But now that you have the ability to deflect bullets with your sword combats become so much fun because there's also a new air dash, and I have a perk where you can get 25% of your stamina back every time you do an air dash. So when you think about what that means, is you can be recharging your stamina by just jumping into the air and dashing around your opponent. And then once you have enough stamina back, if that opponent then pulls out a gun and starts firing at you, you can just hold block at the right time, like when you see the projectiles about to hit you, and you'll just hold that up and it'll deflect like 3 shots, even if it's an automatic or something. But then you'll run out of stamina, so you gotta dart away. So it's like you can't just be sitting there deflecting every shot. But there's ways to even get ranged abilities out of even the sword combat that I think is pretty nuts. So
Cool.
yeah.
Well, glad
Cyberpunk's worth checking out if you haven't played it in a while.
glad to hear it's definitely kind of turned that corner and become a much better game than its initial reputation. One last quick thing I was wondering, because you said with the new DLC you can get up to level 60. What was the max level in the base game?
50. It's just an extra 10 levels.
Okay, cool.
And you have access to the whole perk tree anyways. Like there's not new abilities for Phantom Liberty because the relic abilities actually are specific points that you get. It's that you don't just get one with a level up either. You have to kind of find this basically military tech that you can then use and upload, and it gives you a relic point that you can then invest in other stuff. Okay. And then there's 2 moments in the game where you just get 3 of them for free. So
all right. Well, we had a couple people drop in. Static, thank you for joining us today. He agrees. Liza P is freaking good. And Vanquish Az says the same. Liza P is surprisingly great. And we also had just a second ago my good buddy Paul Hadouken dropping in saying hail. Well, thanks for joining us. So, Beard, have you been playing anything lately?
Boy, what I have is going to be pale in comparison to what you make me follow up that.
I'll go if you want.
No, I mean, because I very rarely play anything new because I don't want to pay $60 to beta test something. So basically, everything I get is I wait for a Steam sale or something like that. So
I'm the same way. I haven't bought a new game in like 6 years.
Yeah,
I buy games. I just don't buy them new.
Yeah.
Until they're like way on sale.
But I've been getting back into Sea of Thieves. I originally played it a couple years ago when I had Game Pass, but I picked it up to the other day and kind of relearning that. A couple of other regulars that are always on my list is a heavily modded Fallout 4. What's up?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm assuming with Sea of Thieves, you have a crew that you play with, because I can't imagine that game would be terribly fun solo.
Actually, I've played 95% of that game solo.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't actually have too many friends that do play games, and I don't like getting matched up with randos because they're very easily made angry. But no, oddly enough, I've played most of that solo, which means I haven't progressed very far in it. And occasionally you get a big old ship coming up on you with full 5-man crew, and they just wreck everything.
I was going to say, can you survive just being solo?
No. If a big ship rolls up on me, I just log out. It's just like, you can have my stuff. This is not worth the fight. I'm just going to log back in and start over.
Because you can't like go on like a PvE server, right? It's everyone's like in the world together.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's not, especially when I play late at night, it's not overwhelmingly populated. So it's not like I'm running into people constantly. But if I'm not watching my booty, somebody's going to come up and steal my booty.
Figuratively and literally.
But yeah, in addition to that, I usually dip into heavily modded Fallout 4. I've been playing through their the Sim Settlements mod. They recently released the last chapter of that fully voiced. I recommend it if you like that game. It kind of guides you through the entirety of the game just based around building settlements, and but it's a little bit more automated than in the base game, so it doesn't take so much of your time. It's not so like minutia based. And then of course I always dip my toes back into some Halo every now and then.
Which Halo is your favorite?
I honestly, I've probably spent more time in Halo 2 back in the day when it was initially launched. But Halo 3, even though I don't like the story quite as much, it's better gameplay.
3 is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, in regard to Fallout 4, I've probably played about 6 or so hours of Fallout 4. I played a heck of a lot of Fallout 3, but I haven't actually gotten really into Fallout 4 yet. It's in my backlog to get to at some point.
Yeah.
But so I haven't gotten far enough to get into like the settlement building part. I mean, I've gotten
building settlements in the base game is a chore.
I've heard that's like the weakest part of the game.
But the Sim Settlements mod, they create this thing called ASAMs. It's basically an automated little plot. You put down the plot, you say, I want this to be a residence or a municipal building or something like that. And then the settlers in your town automatically build it. So you don't have to sit down there and place individual walls and roofs and things like this. And like I said, it's fully voiced, and it kind of guides you through the story, because the way that progresses is it automatically sends you to areas in the story that you're going to have to visit anyway. And it's quite good. Actually, it makes the game much better, in my opinion.
Okay, cool. Is Preston Garvey always telling you have to come back and defend it?
You can't get rid of Preston.
I think I saw him on many lists of like some of the most annoying characters.
Yeah, he really is. You just send him off to some settlement far away, and you never listen to him again.
Well, cool. All right. Saw a couple other people hop in the chat. My buddy Gord King. Hello, thanks for joining me. And my other buddy, Jerry Crow. Hello, thanks for joining us. Here's lurking while watching F1. And Paul says that Sea of Thieves is getting a PvE mode. So that sounds right up your alley if I would do say so.
They did have something that I don't know how recently it was updated. It's a what's that old Lucasfilm game? Curse of Monkey Island?
Oh, Monkey Island. Yeah,
where there's like a totally different game mode that kind of revolves around that. I haven't touched it yet, so that might be a little bit more PvE.
Well, maybe Monkey Island is a point and click adventure.
Well, yeah, but it's crossed over with Sea of Thieves.
Oh, yes, so, they did have a Monkey Island crossover with Sea of Thieves.
So
yes.
that might be a little bit more PvE story based. I haven't gotten into that yet.
Okay. And Static is saying that Halo 2 is the cock tease to get to Halo 3.
It's true.
They had to rush it out the door, so they didn't get to finish it the way they wanted, which is why the ending in Halo 2 is terrible.
I've even got that comic that like bridges the gap that shows what Master Chief went up against before he bailed out that ship coming back to Earth.
Oh, I don't think I even knew there was something.
I was that deep of a Halo nerd. Yeah, that's sitting right back here, actually.
I have read a bunch of the Halo books. I did read the original book trilogy, and I've read... there were a few more. I have to go look at what they were because it was so long ago. But I have read a few of the Halo books, and I do have at least one Halo graphic novel. And I do have the Halo anime that was like a bunch of short stories.
Legends. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. That was pretty good. So, yeah, he says Halo 2 pissed me off. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Halo 2. I liked Halo 1 more. But well, thank you for hopping in here and saying hi, other Gord King and Jerry Crow. So I haven't been playing much this week because I've actually been back here in my office because I usually game out on my TV in my family room. But I've finally like hunkered down. Like I'm getting my PC working that I messaged you about like a year ago, Mark, that I was asking for recommendations on GPUs because I got all the parts last year, but I couldn't get it working. And so it's kind of just been sitting here. I'm like, I'll get to it. So I'm finally like, all right, I'm going to work on it this week. So I've been spending a lot of time and I've got it up and running. I'm just waiting for, I had ordered it last night. I'm missing an adapter because it has a bunch of display ports and only one HDMI, and both my monitors are HDMI because they're a bit older. They don't have display, so I need an adapter. So
I would recommend getting a display port monitor that does high refresh rate stuff because it'd be really interesting to get the benefit of seeing like 100 FPS, 165 FPS. And there's some Asus ones that are around $300 for like a 27-inch. So you're not even dealing with like, oh man, I got to pay an extra $5,000 for an OLED 75 inches. Like, no, it's a PC. You get a 27-inch and like good high refresh rate one, and 1080p is fine. If anything, like it'll be better because that will keep your PC running the newest games at ultra settings for a while. Although now that's becoming a bit trickier though, because a lot of games are running at like 720p and being upscaled to 4K and being called native 4K, but you know, is what it is.
that very monitor that you're talking about, I think, is on my Amazon wish list. So I am planning on upgrading my monitor at some point as well.
Yeah, they've updated it a few times over the last few years, but that's the monitor I generally recommend to people who are just getting into PC gaming. I'm like, yeah, get one of the Asus ROG or TUF, whichever ones their 1080p gaming monitor, like high refresh rate stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, but the ones I have are 23 and 24 inches, and they're probably both at least 10 years old. So, because I haven't been much of a PC gamer, but I did just to test it, kind of put it through its paces last night. I did boot up Doom Eternal to see how it handled, and I put everything to max, and it ran smooth as butter. So,
Doom Eternal is a very well optimized video game.
Yeah. So, but what I have actually been playing, just not since last party chat, I was playing it a lot last week and just haven't been playing as much this week because I'm still working on Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I haven't completed the base game because I still have a couple more achievements left. And my biggest issue is that I've got like 8 or 9 achievements where I've completed the requirements for them, but they haven't unlocked. So I have to basically go and do them over again. The progress bar, even on the achievement tracker, has been progressing, but then when it gets to like 90%, I can do as many as I want of whatever task it's asking me, but it won't progress to that 100%. So I've got like 9 achievements that are just like I'm locked out of, which is annoying. So I'll come back to those later. But I started the Jack the Ripper DLC, and I played through the first like 15 minutes of that. So you actually play as Jack the Ripper, and it's about 20 years after the story of Syndicates, and you're going up against the main characters from the main story. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. So that is what I have been playing lately. So yeah, and Paul is saying that Sea of Thieves, there's a Monkey Island content, but they're adding private servers for single parties. Okay, cool. That probably sounds right up Beard's alley.
Definitely is.
So I'm getting killed by Luxasia the Complete.
Are you playing Liza P?
Yeah, it's I'm on one of the end game bosses, and she is not easy.
So
I'm learning. I'm a dex build right now. I'm using a katana, like a real edgelord.
Nice. All right. Well, with that said, I think we will get into our topics for today. So, first one I have here on the agenda is what was a game that you felt ripped off by? So, I've got 2, but the one that inspired me for this question was Force Unleashed 2. Definitely was very rushed out the door, and I liked Force Unleashed 1. It's not up there in my top echelon of Star Wars games like a lot of other people, but I did enjoy Force Unleashed, and it definitely felt like Force Unleashed 2 was a cash grab. The main game is only like 5 or 6 hours long, and it was still a full $60 game. Then they added some DLC after the fact. I think they were trying to, kind of like Halo 2, they wanted to get it out. I haven't looked at it to see what its release date was. I may be totally off by this, but my guess is just that they had a deadline that they had to get it out because they wanted to, strike while the iron is hot. And I think they really did the game a disservice because I felt kind of ripped off by it. I'm like, at the end of the game, I'm like, really? That was it? I was expecting a lot more of it out of it, considering, how much better, in my opinion, the first game was.
Yeah, so. I don't even think that second one grabbed my attention enough to play it. I remember playing and liking the first one, but I seem to remember seeing the ads for the second one and thinking, and I just skipped out on it.
Well, I mean, I think off the bat, it just seemed kind of like a dumb idea if you played the first one, you know what happens to Starkiller. So to just have him be back, it's like, oh yeah, it's like he's the main character again. It's like, wait, why didn't he?
That's a good point.
Himself to start the rebellion. Like, why is he back? It's like, oh, because he's a clone, so we have a level on Camino. And I just think I like Sam Witwer a lot. I think he's great as Starkiller, but I think that story probably would have worked a lot better if they just honestly just had you play as Luke and just been like, okay, yeah, now we're doing Force Unleashed, but it's the original trilogy starting at the end of Empire Strikes Back. So it's like basically a Shadows of the Empire type deal. Or you get to now play as Luke, and he's the Force Unleashed guy. Like, I think a lot of people would have really liked that.
Cool.
Or set it like in the Old Republic or something. Like, I think they wanted to have Force Unleashed, which was a standalone story that I think was pretty good, just become a trilogy for no reason, and they didn't even get the third game. So, like, now it's an incomplete trilogy with a second part that seemed like it itself is incomplete off the bat. Like it's you don't even need to talk about the other game. It's like, well, the second one kind of just came out before it was totally done.
One of the great things about I'd have to go and double check, but I'm almost positive it was in the DLC for Force Unleashed 2 was there was a segment where you are on you're taking part in the Battle of Endor and you're on the Force Moon Endor and you're slaughtering Ewoks. And that was pretty entertaining. I mentioned I think it was on someone else's stream, but I basically manifest a scene from Robot Chicken Star Wars where Boba Fett has a red and a blue lightsaber and he's slaughtering Ewoks. I basically did that in Force Unleashed because you can put a Boba Fett skin on Starkiller and you can change the colors of the lightsabers in the settings menu. So I would get a red and blue lightsaber and I was running around Endor slaughtering Ewoks just like in that Robot Chicken. It was pretty funny.
I didn't mind the Dark Starkiller DLC in the first one where
the alternate endings.
Yeah,
those were pretty cool.
Hoth and Jabba's palace, basically.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Oh, wait, no, it's Tatooine, but it's not Jabba's palace. Is it? You do fight Boba Fett, but you fight Obi-Wan as he's like trying to get Luke onto the Falcon, like as they're leaving Tatooine.
Okay, yeah. And then I remember I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one, but one of the DLCs you fight Luke in the Hoth hangar bay, and he actually turns to the dark side. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the Force Unleashed 1 DLC.
Okay, I had thought so, but I wasn't totally sure. But Static says that he felt ripped off by Halo 2. I understand that. So, what about you, Beard? Do you have a game that you felt ripped off by?
This is I'm sure there's other stuff if I spent a lot of time digging into my kind of history, but the thing that came to mind first is a kind of a mixed bag because there's parts of it I absolutely love, but the writing fell off in Borderlands 3.
Okay, I did 1 and 2, but I never played Borderlands 3.
See, 2 basically has almost no story. They wrote enough story to make the game happen. In the first one
either.
Yeah. And the second one, they embraced the comedy and it just got goofy. The third one, they tried to be goofy but also super serious, and it would bring the gameplay to a halt where you're running, you're gunning. The gunplay in that game is some of the best that I've ever played. And then you just get to a part where you're like for 2 whole minutes following somebody as they walk slowly and talk, and the writing just was a big miss for me. The gameplay is amazing, but the writing I felt really ripped off by.
Talking about the slow walking, I didn't know it at the time, but that was one of my biggest annoyances in Gears when you're walking slow. It's like, come on, go. And I later learned it's because it's hiding a loading screen.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense back then, but there's nothing because you can revisit the same locations later on in Borderlands 3 and just run right through them full speed. So there's nothing there except story that they were trying to build. And that universe did not need that much story. It just needed things to shoot and guns to get.
Yeah. I did like Handsome Jack. He's very charismatic antagonist.
Yeah, they tried to do something kind of like that with the villains in Borderlands 3, and it just fell off.
Are the main ones the like brother and sister, or is that just some side enemies?
They're like cringe streamers too.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and they tried to go like what they did with Handsome Jack, with like likable but evil, and I don't think it worked.
Okay, yeah, Static agrees with you. He thinks Borderlands 3 writing was terrible, trying not too hard to be funny.
It is the definition of try hard.
It sounds like it's a victim of the same thing that the Batman had, where it's like the writers couldn't help it at the end, be like, hey, what are the people that we hate the most? Well, people on the internet who talk bad about us. Okay, we'll make them the bad guys in this game. It's like, yeah, that's your audience, man.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the Batman the movie with
the
Robert
Pattinson one? Yeah, so at the end, like Riddler all of a sudden manages to manifest an army out of Redditors.
I haven't seen that one yet, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Then I'm spoiling it, I suppose.
That's all right. If I was that interested in it, I would have watched it.
Basically, Incel Joker manages to get henchmen by like having a subreddit. or something. I mean, I don't think they actually call it a subreddit, but it's like he's on a forum where he has over 500 followers, and it's like, well, 500 is not
500. Wow.
I was like, I don't know if out of 500 you could get a dozen guys to be like, yeah, I'll lay down my life for you and like carry a gun up against both the police and the Batman.
Yeah, no
Sure,
way.
why not? You're my idol, Riddler, man. It's like, oh, I don't know. You might get one or two guys like that, but I don't know about
a whole army,
30 of them, or like, I mean, I don't know if it's an army, but it's a solid like 20 or 30 guys. Like, I mean, it's not like
a gang's worth of.
Yeah, like enough that it's like Batman has some trouble dealing with all of them at the same time. You know, like it's.
Yeah, that seems very far fetched. So, Beard, I was wondering, given what you were saying about how you play Sea of Thieves, I'm assuming your experience with Borderlands is very similar to mine, where I played about 95% of both Borderlands in solo. Is that accurate?
I did play a lot. Occasionally, my brother will call me, and It's one of the good things about being a laptop gamer is I just carry everything over there, and then we'll usually play some Borderlands, go smoke some cigars, and then come back in and play some more Borderlands. So I did play a decent amount of Borderlands 2 and 1 with him. We started playing 3, and he rage quit at one of the points where you had to just start walking. I felt bad because I convinced him to get it, and he uninstalled it right there in front of me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I played most of Borderlands 1 and 2 solo, so I was not a huge fan of it. I played because at the beginning of both when Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 came out, I played it like with a party of 4 for like a very short period of time, so we didn't get very far into it. And then I did that with like 2 or 3 different groups of friends. So I had like 3 or 4 characters that I got to like level 10, but no one who actually like played through the whole thing with me. So then I ended up playing through, and that happened both with Borderlands 1 and 2. So I played like the beginning 3 or 4 times with different groups of friends and played as different characters. Then I ended up playing the whole game basically solo. So
yeah,
nothing against the game.
It's the same thing.
It was fun in co-op, especially in 4-player, but playing it solo was nowhere near as enjoyable.
In solo, 2 is better than 1. In a group, I'd call them equal because it's just crazy wacky fun with your buddies. But if you're going to play one of those by yourself, 2 is better because it has a better story.
Okay. Yeah, I ended up playing, I don't remember what my main character was when I played through 1, but I do remember that in 2, when I played through the entirety of it, I played as Gage, so I could use the
Man, there are some Gage builds that are broken.
Yeah, because it's like I felt like I was going down so easily. It's like I need someone to take the heat off me. So I went as Gage and used the Death Trap. That's what it was called, to take the heat for me. And he was a beast.
Death Trap
made it easier playing solo.
An Anarchy build with her, you basically build stacks of Anarchy, which lowers your accuracy. The build I went. But of all the bullets that miss, they have a chance of ricocheting and hitting an enemy. So you basically just spray and pray. You don't even have to pray. You just close your eyes and spray, and everything dies.
I think that might be the build I went with. I have to go double check.
It's fantastic fun. I did that one.
Yeah, I was, because I think I started playing through when I was like, all right, I'm going to play through the whole game now. I think I started as another character, and I was just getting downed all the time. There was no one to revive me. So I was like, let's try Gage with the Death Claw. Not Death Claw, that's Fallout. Death Trap. Thank you. I was like, I just said it a minute ago, and that definitely helped make it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, Static is saying that the Riddler was basically a YouTuber. So, Mark, what's a game or games that you felt ripped off by?
Well, I guess not to gang up on Gearbox too much, but mine's probably Aliens Colonial Marines, I'd say.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Had a lot of potential to be really awesome, and just they did nothing with it. Like nothing about it was good, really. Like, so I don't know. I guess so, but I'd say in general, I wouldn't often describe my feelings toward a game as being ripped off, even when I don't feel that a game was worth the money. Mostly because I was kind of blaming myself in that respect. It's like, well, I should have definitely not paid full price for this. Now, I think there's a lot that can be said about, hey, what games are charging too much for what they're actually offering. And as much as I could probably make a pretty decent argument for actually every game that launches at the $70 price point, because I don't even buy the inflation argument there. I think that as much as, like, yes, inflation is a thing, you got to understand the the sales numbers for like a big selling video game in the 80s are not, they're not comparable to what the sales number for a big selling game is today. They'd be like, oh, the budgets have gotten bigger too. And I'll be like, yeah, they have.
So the audience.
But if we're going to turn something down or turn something up, how about not the final price of the game and just you guys use your money better and don't make $400 million games. Make a $100 million game that's really focused and really good. You know,
a lot of movies need to do that too.
Yeah, L1. I think that Gareth Edwards movie that just came out, The Creator.
That looks interesting.
So the thing is with that is that's an $80 million movie.
I was shocked when I heard that.
Apparently the special effects are like not only not discernible from a big budget like Star Wars or Marvel movie, they're significantly better. So
it looks amazing.
It's like that kind of just goes to show you. It's like, okay, well, how much is being wasted on these entertainment products? Like not from I wouldn't say anything on the indies. Like it'd be that independent film or independent video games, because ultimately they're just doing what they got to do to get by for the most part. If they're actually an independent thing, like there's
the big budgets.
Yeah, I mean there's plenty of levels of indie, but if you're legitimately like an indie developer and that you're just a guy or a couple guys who are making a game and you don't have a publisher attached, then yeah, I'm not really talking about you. Like you guys don't need to lower your budget. If anything, you could probably use some more. But like I don't know. Anytime I see a game like just trying to think of a recent example. Call of Duty just in general might be one that you could argue, because not all that much has changed in each iteration that comes out. So it is like, okay, well, what are you paying for then? It's like, are you paying for new multiplayer balancing? It's like, I don't think so, because plenty of games that are multiplayer, like Counter-Strike, Valorant, like anything like that are multiplayer games that exist over years. They're not releasing whole new products every year. If they think that something's off about the game balancing or how the game plays, they update it and they change things in the actual game and refine it and make it better. But Call of Duty's in a situation where they just arbitrarily change a few things. They throw a new story together, with the campaigns apparently getting much shorter and more poorly done over time, and
still charging the same.
Yeah, and they're still charging the same amount of money. So I think you can make the argument that, hey, maybe they're just not using their budget well, or they are and they just like, well, but we'll still charge $80 for this multiplayer primary game, which I'm at the point that I don't think any multiplayer game should be paid to start playing. I think every multiplayer game, if you're saying that, like, okay,
especially if it has microtransactions, should be free to play,
because it will have micro, like that's, they were like, well, then they'll just load it with microtransactions. I'm like, no, but they're going to do that anyways. That is like paying the $70 for us $93.49 Canadian price to get into a Call of Duty game does not mean that you will not have to spend any money on that Call of Duty game to get all the cosmetics and things that they add over time, because those games have battle passes. So it's like, well, why are we paying the initial price? Because if the answer is just for the campaign, then maybe we should be asking more out of the Call of Duty campaigns than a 4-hour generic military action movie, you know?
Agreed.
But yeah, I think that a lot of these games though could do with just focusing a bit, and it's actually, to tie it back to Liza P, that's one of the things that I think they do quite well. That it's very focused on being a good type of game that it is, and its strength over Elden Ring might be that it isn't nearly as expansive and open. That it is more focused on just being a really good Souls-like action game, and less about being a whole world that people can explore and uncover. You know, it's almost they go for a different type of thing, but you can tell obviously that will cost less money, because you just have to have good level designers and have them make things that look kind of good, as opposed to people that are like, okay, well, we got to plot out this entire world and this map. And Elden Ring did a good job with having things like the sight lines obscuring secrets that you might see if you're just looking across an open field. So if you go and investigate the things in that field, like rock structures or trees, you might find something interesting. And that takes a lot more time and effort than just being like, no, like dungeon boss. That's our game. We have a hub that you can come back to. You have a few vendors that you can shop at, but ultimately killing monsters and fighting bosses is why we're here. And we're just going to do that. I think more games should be like that than trying to be the big open world extravaganza, ultimate version of everything that's ever happened game, you know?
Yeah, definitely we need some more quality over quantity.
Yeah, it's because honestly, the quality is what people remember. It's not the quantity necessarily.
Yeah. In regards to Colonial Marines, it was funny how like a decade later they realized that like the biggest problem with the game was, you know, how terrible the AI was like changing a comma to a period or something super basic in the code, and it like fixed everything. It's like, how ironic.
Fixed everything might be going a little
No,
far.
okay, not fixed anything, but made the AI operate how it was intended.
Insane. Yeah, but at the same, it didn't improve the game dramatically. Aliens Colonial Marines is still very bad. It's
not a good game.
Yeah.
Did you play the more recent one? I think Fireteam Elite.
How
was that?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it was better because it'd take a lot to be worse.
There was a period of time where, I guess it still might be ongoing depending on what the next couple big multiplayer horde shooters that released end up doing, but it seemed like there was a long time where there was a lot of Left 4 Dead likes coming out one after the other. Like Back 4 Blood came out at around the same time as World War Z added its first person mode, and Fireteam Elite came out, and there was a couple others that were happening around the time, and Fireteam Elite's just one that I wasn't that interested in it, and thought that fighting aliens in a horde shooter in third person was, I don't think it's the best way to use that license, because
was Fireteam Elite a third person?
I believe so, yeah. Like a cover shooter, which I assumed it was a first person, because I was like, cover shooter for like what are you taking cover from?
Yeah, and apparently
but apparently there's a bunch of enemy like alien types that they now shoot acid. Like they shoot acid.
Okay.
Like, okay, well, I don't know. It seems like they're really stretching to use this license to make a video game at this point, when they easily probably could have just made Colonial Marines good.
Yeah, I could have given a redemption arc. Like,
I don't think that would happen. Like, because redemption arcs tend to not happen for linear single player campaign based games.
That's a good point.
Because there's no reason to continue just supporting them after they've expressed what they can sales wise.
Yeah. So the other one I had on here for feeling ripped off by was Ninja Gaiden 3, because Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden 2 are some of my favorite games of all time. Ninja Gaiden 3 was the first one Team Ninja did after Tobunobu Itagaki left, and it showed. They basically stripped everything out of what made Ninja Gaiden great, and there was like no magic, there was no other weapons. You just had the one sword from the beginning, and that was it through the entire game. It was a huge disappointment. Supposedly the re-release version of Razor's Edge added all of that back in, but I haven't played it yet. It is in my backlog. I played through a little bit of it, like probably like the first 3 or 4 levels, and I haven't seen any difference from the base game. So I'm not sure at what point it starts changing. But I've heard that it definitely is a somewhat worthy redemption. But I was very, very disappointed with Ninja Gaiden 3. I returned it after I beat it because I was like, this is not a Ninja Gaiden game.
I've actually not played it. So I didn't even get to it because I heard it was really bad, and I didn't want to sully the memory of Ninja Gaiden in my head.
The thing that should have been a huge red flag for me is they was not a peep mentioned about the game before it was released. I didn't even know about it till a couple days after it came out. I'm like, how did I not hear about it? No reviews, no one talked about it, nothing. So I ran down and got it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's probably why no one talked about it. They probably didn't have the embargo lift until after it was out because they didn't want people to know how terrible it was. But yeah, if you do play it, if you do want to play Ninja Gaiden 3, from what I've heard, definitely go with Razor's Edge, because I do know they added a ton of that other stuff back into the game, but why it wasn't in there from the get-go,
I think that's the version that's on everything now, like in the trilogy that just came out.
Yeah, it's the one that's in the Master Ninja Collection.
Yeah, Master Ninja Collection, that's what I meant.
What's up, Nerd Pearl? Dropping in to say hello. Thanks for joining us. So we'll move on to our next topic for today. Let's see here. We'll come back to that one if we have time. Let's go with this one. What is something that either made you rage quit or give up on a game? It sounds like, Beard, your brother rage quit on Borderlands 3 due to that one thing. Do you... no, Nerd Pearl, I am talking about Ninja Gaiden 3 on Xbox 360. I think it was also on PlayStation 3. But
Yeah,
Beard, did you have a similar
remake trilogy
to your brother, where you made you rage quit a game, or maybe not even rage quit, just something that you're like, all right, I'm done with this game?
Well, funny that you mentioned Ninja Gaiden. I can't remember if it was Ninja Gaiden Black or 2, but at one of those points, in one of those games, I just reached a point where stuff wasn't going my way. It was repeating over and over and failing and failing and failing and failing. And
were you fighting a pink winged creature in a chapel?
I don't even remember.
I was going to say, if you could give me some description, I could tell you exactly which one it was.
I forget her name, but she's usually
Alma.
That made people. Alma, yeah. Alma was the one that usually made people filter on Ninja Gaiden.
I talked about that on one of my, I think on the party chat that you missed, Mark. I talked about that on one of the hardest bosses. I talked about Alma because that was a part that made a lot of people rage quit because it was just such a difficulty spike.
Now there's the Puppet King in Liza P. That's the mid game filter. Took me a while. Although I spent 6 hours on the friggin' swamp monster that most people have said is not that hard. And I'm like, oh well, my build was not liking it apparently.
But so you don't remember what specifically was, just something that you were just like, oh, I'm done with this.
I either blacked out or maybe I read it out. I don't know. But I do remember that afterwards I had a broken controller and a bloody knuckle. I literally punched my Xbox 360 controller. And then of course I'm mad because I have to spend another $60 on a controller.
I have thrown controllers, but not so much that they've like come apart, but not so much that they didn't still work. So I got into the habit of throwing them into my pillows when I was mad.
That would have been a much better financial decision for me to do.
I've raged at Ninja Gaiden,
like the $200 type with back paddles on it. So I'm like,
I'm not going to throw that.
Rage quitting here.
Like, yeah,
you gingerly set that one down and then go punch something else.
Yeah. I've raged at Ninja Gaiden a lot, but it's still one of my favorite games of all time.
I mean, it's fantastic. It really is a fantastic game. I had a little, in my younger days, had a little bit more anger issues than I do now. You know, things mellow out once the gray starts coming into the beard.
Not the beard, but I got plenty of grays myself. Yeah. So yeah, I feel you.
But yeah, I've only ever broken 2 controllers, one with Ninja Gaiden, and I think the other one was like a Halo 2 match that didn't go my way, and I literally twisted it until it cracked.
I wish I could. Well, you couldn't because it was at least not back then. Because assuming it was during the actual Xbox One era, but if you were playing it on Master Chief Collection, you could record that. Whatever happened.
No, this was original Halo 2.
I would love to see that. What happened? Like,
yeah, like literally, I just took it and just twisted until it cracked, and then I was just like, "Damn it!"
I totally understand the feeling, though. Yeah. Nerdporial says he didn't rage quit, but he stopped playing Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, we talked about that when he was on Party Chat a few weeks ago. Yeah, I've raged a lot on Ninja Gaiden, but never so much that it made me stop playing because I was like, I can do better next time. It had the great carrot on the end of the stick. It's like I can do better.
That's what you get from fair difficulty. Yeah. Because when the player dies and realizes that it was their fault, not the game's, that's when you know you have good difficulty.
Yeah, even when you're mad, you're upset, but not at the game, but at yourself.
Yeah, like when you realize, like, okay, had I been playing better in this moment, I would have won. And like you don't ever want a situation where it's like, well, I didn't get lucky that time. Hopefully, I'll get lucky this time. It's like you really shouldn't be getting lucky in challenge-based video games. You should be winning because you're getting better. And I think that as long as a game can provide that, the element of I died and I understand why, then you're fine. Yeah. For difficulty.
That's definitely one of the reasons why I have kept playing, and I love the heck out of Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2, or Black and 2, because Black was better than the original release on Xbox.
It's basically just the director's cut.
Exactly. Mark, has there been a game that you gave up on at some point?
I mean, yeah, I don't really know. I think it would probably just be every so often I'll just give up a multiplayer game, but I'm not sure that I really rage quit so much as I just stop playing a game if I'm not interested in it anymore. It's rare that I throw down my controller and say, I'm never playing this video game again. I just tends to just not be my style, really.
Oh, that just reminded me of something I didn't have on my notes, but it just reminded me of. So I will talk about that in a second, unless there's anything else you wanted to mention on the topic.
No. I mean, I don't think I'm much of a rage quitter. My answer is boring, I suppose.
Yeah, so kind of in the vein of that, the one that actually was the inspiration for me for this question was Resident Evil 4. It wasn't a rage quit; it was very similar. It's just like I'm not bothering with this. So I've been told that there was another better option, but I didn't know that at the time. And but there's a point in Resident Evil 4 where you come up against enemies called regenerators, and basically, from what I understood, the only way to kill them is they have certain weak points under their skin, but you can't see them unless you have the certain gun with the thermal scope. And I'd never used that gun because I didn't like it. So I had to I would have had to backtrack through the entire game, basically to like the beginning of the game to get that, then come back.
You can put the thermal scope on the submachine gun also.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't even think I had the thermal scope because I figured the only gun it was for that hunting rifle, which I was like, I'm not going to use this gun when I've got these other guns that I like way better.
One of the best weapons in the game, though. Or I mean, not the hunting rifle necessarily, but in Resident Evil 4, though, you don't have to backtrack. You can just buy the better rifle from the merchant at that point, because like you're on the island then, so all the weapons that you can buy and don't have to earn by finishing the game are with the "what are you buying" guy.
Okay, I don't think I knew that either. But I got to the point where these regenerators, and it seemed like I went online and found like, I was like, how do I beat these guys? You have to have the thermal scope, and so you know where to shoot them. And I was like, I'm not backtracking through the whole game to go get that gun that I don't even like. So I basically kind of gave up on the game, and I never got past that point. So that was the inspiration.
You ever gone back and played Resident Evil 4?
Yeah, I never got. And one of the other things about it is I first had Resident Evil 4 on GameCube, and I couldn't stand the controls. So when they re-released it on Wii, I traded my GameCube version for the Wii version, and actually having the motion controls for aiming made the game 100 times better. And that's when I actually played through the game. I tried Resident Evil 4 again when it was on Game Pass. I'm like, let me give it another shot with the controller. And same thing, I couldn't get through the first opening section of the village. I died like 10 times. I'm like, yeah, I'm not bothering with this game.
Yeah, man, it's one of the best games ever made.
That's what a lot of people say.
I would recommend getting over that hurdle. Go play it. It's good stuff.
Maybe I'm assuming it's got to be on PC because it's like Doom. It's on everything, right?
Resident Evil 4 is on your iPhone if you want. Like they ported Resident Evil 4 to everything at this point.
And that's what I thought. So now that I'm getting my actual gaming PC, maybe playing it on PC will make that better. Maybe I'll give it another shot. But the thing that I just thought of a moment ago while Mark was talking was it was rage quit if it wasn't specifically something that the game did. So I loved the Forza games back in the day. I played and I got all the achievements in Forza 2 with the exception of the online ones because I just liked playing against the AI. I didn't want to bother with going online.
The online races were a disaster.
Basically there was 1 or 2 achievements, and one of them was for getting 1 million credits online, which would have taken a lot of online racing. I was like, I'm not bothering with that. I got all of the achievements in Forza 3 with the exception of 1. The only achievement I'm missing is for getting all gold medals. There's 969 races in Forza 3. I was at about 920 gold medals, so I only had like 40 more to go, and I lost my save data. It got corrupted. So I rage quit Forza, and I've never played the franchise since. I gave my game and my professional steering wheel with the pedals and everything, I gave it to a friend. I'm like, I'm done with this franchise.
That's a big oof right there.
Yeah, I was so pissed because that was it was like 200 hours of racing, and I would have had to done it all over again. I'm like, no,
Horizon is basically a different franchise, though.
Yeah. If I was to go back into racing games, I would be much more interested in the Horizon games because I do love.
I mean, you have Game Pass. You should play from Horizon 5. It's great.
I did play the intro of Horizon 5 for a Game Pass quest. I think I did it for there was a Game Pass quest at one point for both the intros of Horizon 4 and Horizon 5, and it was pretty fun. But yeah, I love both sim and arcade racing.
as you buy different cars, you then just find that you can start going to like any icon on the map and doing any event because you have a car that's well suited for it, and you can just switch to them at any time. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
Good race mechanics too.
I've liked a lot of the. I haven't played many recently, but I liked a lot of the early 360 Need for Speed games. One of my favorite racing games was Project Gotham Racing 3 and 4. I love that one because it's like if you had the simulation racing at one end of the spectrum with Forza, and you have the arcade racing at the other end of the spectrum with Need for Speed, like PGR 3 and 4. I never played 1 and 2. Those were on original Xbox. It's like a perfect balance right in the middle where it's not too arcadey, but it's not too simulation. So I love racing games. And I've had played some since, but yeah, I basically rage quit the Forza franchise because of that save data corruption. So it wasn't something that happened in the game, something that happened to the game.
I think that team went on to make Blur.
Yes.
Blur.
I just blanked on their name, but yes, they did Blur, and then I think that was their last game before they shut down. The probably the biggest thing that they did that became a big hit was Geometry Wars, which was a mini game in an arcade cabinet in your I know it was in PGR 3. I heard that I never played PGR 2, but I heard that it was originally in PGR 2. But I know for a fact it was in your garage in an arcade cabinet in PGR 3, and then they spun it off into its own franchise as an Xbox Live Arcade game, and it became really popular.
Yeah,
I played that game so much.
Yeah.
What was that, Mark?
Geometry Wars is really good. I think it was a good way to introduce people to the idea of like, hey, there's smaller games that you can play that are actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was one of the early Xbox Live Arcade games, if I remember. So
I think it was the first. I want to say it was the first.
I think so too.
It very well could be.
I remember I worked at GameStop back in the day. You know, typical gamer thing, work at GameStop. But my buddy and I that worked with there, we would just spend the slow hours of the day taking turns on Geometry Wars, just trying to beat each other's score. That game is so good.
Yeah, I never played the actual arcade game, but I did play the cabinet that existed inside PGR.
Yeah.
And my buddy Jacob Ironside's hopping in to saying, "Sup, y'all?" Jacob? Hey, Jacob. So one other thing I quickly wanted to mention, it wasn't as much. It also wasn't really a rage quit, but something I gave up on. The game was Overcooked. You would if you haven't played it, you know, it's like a party game. I played it mostly solo, but it's one of those fun party games, and everyone's like raging at each other because you're like. I know Melee James and Melee K said they won't play it with each other anymore because they get so mad at each other. Like, chop the lettuce! I'm doing the hamburger. You're supposed to do the lettuce.
Yeah, I can see Overcooked ruining a relationship.
It's fun to watch people rage at each other. I have
successfully played it together a couple times, though.
So. Oh, okay. But you would think that this is the way I think it should have gone, is that if you get at least 1 star in a kitchen, you will unlock the next level. Each kitchen you unlock, you know, which is another level, has a star requirement. And the last couple kitchens have this really high star requirement. So if you haven't 3-starred literally every single level, you can't even unlock the last couple levels in the game. So I haven't beaten the game because I can't get enough 3 stars to even get to the last couple levels. So at that point, I was like, I'm done with this for now. So that was annoying.
Skate a game like that because you figure most people are not playing Overcooked at the frequency where they would even see the last level ever. It's like it's a game that you play every now and then when you've got someone there to play with. Like no one's really playing it alone, trying to grind out 3 stars of Overcooked, are they?
Oh, except for us achievement hunters. But yeah, you're probably pretty accurate. Yeah, because I could get 1 star or 2 stars in. I do have a lot of 3 stars. But it's like I got 1 star in the level before, it should unlock the next one. But nope, I don't have enough stars, so I haven't been able to beat the game. So, all right, so that's 3. So, let's see how many more of these we can get through before we run out of time here. We'll come back to that one too if we have enough time. So, next one up on the agenda, we'll go to this one because I'm interested to hear what your answers are. So the next one I think we will talk about is what canceled game were you most excited for that, you know, obviously you were disappointed when it got canceled, but what canceled game were you most looking forward to? I have a bunch of them, and I'm sure at least one of you, if not both of you, will probably mention some of them. So whoever wants to go first.
I had it and the name just escaped me. So I'm going to have to look it up.
Do you remember? Can you describe it? We might be able to tell you what it was.
Okay, apparently that's all. The only name it ever got, I guess, was that Star Wars, what, 1313.
That's one of the ones on my list,
Yeah,
1313, and I was really looking forward to that one.
everything about it looks so good and so much promise, and then just for seemingly no
Disney
reason,
happened.
just it's gone.
Thanks, Disney. Yeah, that looks like a really awesome game, and I don't know if it was originally supposed to be a Boba Fett game, but it eventually came out that it was like a young Boba Fett game, which was really cool. Boba
Well,
Fett
I
is,
mean,
kind of like my Star Wars mascot.
yeah, I mean,
As my
even if it
other,
wasn't, that would have been great because it would have been like the seedy underworld of Coruscant,
yes,
and that's something we hadn't seen, and it would have been fun to kind of play through that.
That's
Well,
that was supposed to be the premise of Lucas's show too. The
oh yeah, that the
200
only thing that ever
episode
saw the
show
light
that
of
he
day
was.
was that short little like 5 or 6 minute segment. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I was looking forward to that game as well. And actually, only like a year ago, some additional footage of behind the scenes of the development of that game came out, showing like a
no,
mission where you're like chasing down someone, and you're basically Assassin's Creed parkouring across the side of buildings to catch this person. It looked like, yeah, it would have been a fun game. So that was definitely one of the games on my list that I was disappointed that got canceled.
yeah.
What about you, Mark?
I'd probably say StarCraft Ghost is mine.
That's another one on my
Oh,
list.
yeah.
I was
Good
so
one.
bummed we never got that game. I wasn't even a StarCraft fan because I don't really do RTSs, but it looked like Splinter Cell in the StarCraft universe, and that looked awesome to me.
Yeah, and the ghosts are definitely kind of interesting units that could easily have a cool campaign built around it, especially for the types of game that were being made at the time, like Splinter Cell. But other than that, though, I think I'd have to see a list of canceled games to actually know, because it's like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure how many games that if I thought I was looking forward to them, if they got canceled, would I have wanted them to come out? And StarCraft Ghost just seemed like one of those ones that is like, well, I feel like it just didn't fit into their release calendar or something, and then they changed development studios on it. So, and anytime that happens, it's usually not a great thing. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to kind of read up on a bunch of other games that were canceled. Like,
But yeah, there's also a point where if after a game hasn't come out for so long, do you want it to? Because we all saw what happened to Duke Nukem Forever. Yes.
Yeah, Gearbox happened to them again. I'm not crazy about Gearbox as a company, if you guys haven't been able to tell. But yeah, it actually is the same kind of thing as happened with Colonial Marines. It was, I think Randy Pitchford figured out a way to get some more funding that he'd then funnel into, I don't know, whatever Randy Pitchford does in his spare time.
Yeah,
not actually deliver any kind of a good game. Just
he's busy learning bad card tricks
with a light on it that makes people be like, "Oh my god, I remember Duke Nukem."
Yeah. Now, because like I wasn't huge into StarCraft. The main ghost from the story, that was Sarah Kerrigan, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's the one that's focused on the most, but she's not like the queen of the ghosts or anything like that. She's just one of them that factors into the story of the first game pretty heavily.
Was she voiced by Jennifer Hale?
Very possibly. I couldn't really tell you off the top of my head, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if she was, but I have a feeling that she was. But yeah, I was just curious about that. But yeah, StarCraft Ghost is another one on my list here that I was very disappointed by the cancellation of. But yeah, Jacob is saying that there was a lot of awesome concept art for 1313. Yep. And stupid Disney ruined another good Star Wars project. So those were two of the ones that were my inspiration for the question. The other two that I had on here, another one that I was looking forward to and got scrapped, was a Platinum game. It was going to be an Xbox exclusive, and then it wasn't going to happen. And then it was going to happen, and then what didn't happen? Scalebound. That looked like a really cool game.
I don't know. I'm not sure because Platinum, as much as I love them, they are so inconsistent sometimes. Like, because you never know if you're getting a Babylon's Fall or a
good point.
2 or something. You know, like, I mean, or Vanquish. Like, they can release absolute masterpieces and then games that it really just seems like they're dumping out really quick for money. And I mean, now Kamiya just left, so Platinum.
Oh yeah,
kind of doesn't have anything, or they don't have anything that makes them themselves. They're just a brand, and I don't know how much talent they've retained. So I don't know. I'm not. I'm wary about Platinum's future. And I actually found out too. Shinji Mikami left Tango also, because I said that it
Okay.
would be really wild if Kamiya went to Tango GameWorks, which if you guys don't know the story, so Shinji Mikami and Hideki Kamiya, who are basically the guy who made Resident Evil popular because he directed Resident Evil 2, and the guy who made Devil May Cry popular because he designed the Devil May Cry combat while trying to write Resident Evil 4, but it ended up being so weird and different that they're just like, okay, let's go further into your idea of all this weird different devil angel stuff, and let's not make it Resident Evil more anymore and have it be a different thing, and we'll do something else for Resident Evil 4. Now Kamiya is famously the guy who directed the Bayonetta games, and he tends to be the one who's often credited for creating the character action shooter, like basically the kind of game that arguably you could say that Itagaki from Team Ninja was also there. And I mean, maybe even I don't know. You could maybe say David Jaffe for God of War, but God of War, I think God of War came out after that genre had already sort of gotten its structure. You know, like God of War was definitely not one of the first ones, but like Devil May Cry, for example, was. So with my original idea was it would be really cool if the guys who made Clover Studio, which did Piano 3 and Beautiful Joe and a couple of those, Okami being another one.
Okay.
And then
I like Piano 3.
Clover eventually became Platinum.
Oh, that's right.
And it was Shinji Mikami and Hideki Kamiya starting Platinum. And then Mikami left and started Tango GameWorks. And Kamiya has now left Platinum. So I was like, oh, it'd be crazy if Kamiya went to Platinum, but now Kamiya went to Tango, but now apparently Mikami isn't even at Tango anymore, so I have no idea what's going on.
Does Platinum even have any games in the works right now?
I don't think so. I mean, like they do in the sense that they'd announced a bunch of stuff over the last few years around the time they did that Wonderful 101 Kickstarter. But now that they've like Tencent's apparently bought a whole bunch more of their shares, and we got their talent leaving, so I wouldn't trust any announcement of a Platinum game that you've seen in the last 2 years as being a video game that will actually be real at some point.
Okay.
All of them might just kind of go away.
Yeah. Well, what I saw from Scalebound looked promising, but yeah, we'll never see it. So that was one that I was bummed to not get. And then the other one on here was the original Prey 2, because the original Prey was like this really mind-bendy first-person physics-based shooter kind of, and I loved it. They were going to go this completely different direction with Prey 2, but I still liked the look of what you're this like sci-fi bounty hunter.
Yeah, it's basically Star Wars 1313, but first person.
Yeah, so that looked really promising too, and we never got that. Although I have heard that the 2017 Prey did end up being a very good game as well, but I haven't played it yet. It's in my backlog.
I've tried to get through it twice, and it never really connects with me. It's immersive sims I'm weird with like that, though. Sometimes I get really deep into them, and sometimes I just don't really want anything to do with them.
Yeah, it looks good. I've seen it played, but it looks, at least for me, like something I would would more enjoy watching than actually playing. I mean, because there's fascinating parts to the story and the universe they've built, but it just doesn't look like something I want to be part of.
I don't know that I'd agree with that, just because immersive sims are the kind of games where the joy, even in the writing, is sort of exploring the area and seeing the environmental storytelling and reading the logs and trying to piece together clues. And I guess it might just be that I guess the enemies weren't very compelling to me. Like the mimics, like, oh, they can be anything, and even an inanimate object. I'm like, well, when they can be actually anything, it kind of gets a little less scary, you know? Like,
yeah.
Well, they did something similar with Control, and I loved Control.
Yeah, I've heard really good things. Haven't played it yet.
Been hearing good things about Alan Wake 2 as well.
Yeah, one of the like big side bosses from Control was a refrigerator. Of course, it was the spirit inhabiting the refrigerator, but still.
Yeah.
But okay. Now, because Prey was Arcane, which their big thing was, well, one of their big things was Dishonored. Did you do Dishonored at all?
I've played Dishonored 1 and 2, and about 2 hours or so of the
Death of the Outsider.
Death of the Outsider, yeah.
Were you a fan of Dishonored then?
Yeah, it's okay. I didn't love it, but I thought that especially the first one, I had quite a good time playing it. I'd say Dishonored 2, I sort of fell off halfway through both times I tried. Similar to Prey, actually. I think I ended up playing more of Deathloop than I did of Dishonored 2, which is also.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that because it got a year head start on Xbox, but finally came to Game Pass.
It was on PS5, PS4. I think it was like a PS4 exclusive or PS5.
Yeah, it was a timed exclusive because of the rights, and it was during the Bethesda acquisition, so Xbox didn't actually get it for like a year after its launch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exclusivity deals bad, everybody.
So, all right. Well, let's try to get through one more here before we wrap it up for the day. What is a game from your backlog you're looking forward to getting to at some point? I've got a bunch on here, but I'll let either of you guys go first.
This is kind of a tricky one for me because I stream, so I often am incentivized to just play games that I enjoy playing so that I can talk about them while I'm playing them and it's interesting. So I guess for me, it's like anytime I have a backlog, it's like, well, I can just be playing that game, I suppose. Like I'm not like locked into playing any particular game. So I guess that's a bit hard to answer, but I suppose the best way I can answer is just by saying Final Fantasy 14, because I always look forward to getting back to that game to play the next bit of the story. But I have played like over 200 hours of it. It's just I've still got 3 campaigns to get through.
200 hours in, still excited about playing more of it. That's definitely a good.
I'm working on getting into Stormblood, the 3rd expansion, or the 3rd campaign, I guess, the 2nd expansion.
Okay, yeah, definitely sounds like well, I mean, I guess it is an MMO, so hopefully it does still retain your attention after 200 hours. It's definitely a good sign of a good MMO. And
I find that I've been definitely getting a lot of interest out of it by switching to the canon class for each expansion. So during Heaven's Ward, I became a Dragoon. Now for Stormblood, I've sort of changed into a Samurai, and it's not too difficult to level up a job to its maximum not to its maximum. It's not too hard to level up a new job to the level that you're currently at, because they basically have this system where when you're doing a secondary job, your XP is accelerated to help you meet your current play level, so that if your party needs a healer and no one wants to be a healer, you can be like, okay, I'll be a healer. Just give me like 3 days or something like that. And then within a couple days doing like the dailies for getting experience, you can get a character pretty high level pretty quick, but your first one takes quite some time. So I was a gladiator for forever, or a gladiator / paladin, and then now I can branch out.
Sounds like it has the opposite of diminishing returns.
Yeah. The more time you put into it, kind of the more that you get out of it. But for an MMO, that kind of has to be how it is, because otherwise people won't continue to pay.
Because you're using the same character, just kind of switching their abilities, right? Or you start using a new character.
It's the job system, just kind of like from Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that. It's just you can change a character's job, and now you're mercenary, or you're not mercenary. Sorry, you're gladiator, or you're dragoon or ninja or whatever it be, can just become a white mage, and you have to do a bunch of the white mage quests and unlock some stuff and start as a level 1 white mage, but you'll be a level 10 in an hour and like probably a 20 by the end of the day. And within like a couple days, especially if you do the PvP, it's like you do the daily PvP and you'll get like 3 level ups right there. And it's not great PvP, but it doesn't take that long to get through, and you don't really have to win to get all that XP. So it's just you get more if you win, but you still get a bunch if you don't, if you just play.
That ability to kind of switch your professions is one of the things that I liked way back in the day with Star Wars Galaxies. And it's annoying that more games don't have that, where you can have the same character and just say, well, you know what? I don't want to use this weapon anymore. I'm just going to retrain over here. And you don't have to completely rebuild everything up. It's
a good point.
Yeah, it's a great feature, but I imagine that they don't include that in too many games because they want to sell you extra character slots or something.
Yeah, and I think there are like character slots that you can buy in Final Fantasy 14, but there's just not a whole lot of point in having more than one character. Like, I
Yeah.
guess if you just want them to look different, that's kind of the only thing. But there are also stuff that carries over your account. So I think you might actually get the same XP boost if you're leveling a secondary character from scratch. It's just the secondary character has all their story quests reset. Like they're,
Nah.
yeah, so if you want to go through the Realm Reborn or Heaven's Ward again, you could create a new character and do it, and then you can get through everything a lot quicker because your XP still gets ramped up. But yeah, Final Fantasy 14 is a good game, though. I strongly recommend it.
Excellent.
Great writing. It's just like, even like I've been playing right now the patches between Heaven's Ward and Stormblood, so they're just they weren't expansions. They're just like, hey, between expansions we have these patches come out that have a couple story missions in them that sort of bridge the gap between expansions. So like epilogue missions for the previous campaign that you finished, and then prologue missions for the upcoming campaign, and they're all very worthwhile and are just added to the game, because that's the thing about a live service where you have an actual live subscription. They can do things like that because there's always a team of people that are developing the game, you know?
Yeah, they're making use of that subscription. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Beard? You got anything in your backlog you're looking forward to getting to at some point?
Oh, actually, y'all mentioned Dishonored earlier, and I've got Dishonored 1 sitting in my backlog. Picked it up for free on the Epic Game Store. I am a budget gamer through and through, so I check that stuff all the time. I've played about maybe half an hour just kind of get a feel for it, but I haven't been back to it since.
Yeah, I've gotten
but
through the
I
first
did
level.
enjoy it, so I am looking forward to getting back to that. And honestly, kind of throw something else randomly out, it's probably forever going to be in my backlog, is Homeworld Deserts of Karak.
I've never even heard of that.
It's the Homeworld series. It's an old real-time space strategy kind of combat, and then they had this follow-up game that takes place on the planet, so it's just ground-based vehicles. But the reason that will forever be in my backlog is there is some bug in the game and it will never run for me. I have unlocked, like, let's see, it says I have 7 minutes of gameplay in this game, and that's only from a blank screen loading and then crashing. That's how many times I've tried to launch this game because I want to play it so bad.
Have you tried looking for like community mods and fixes?
I've looked at a lot of things, and there are some people that have this same issue where it's just the game's been abandoned. There's like conflicting reports on what the cause is, and every now and then I'll reinstall it and I'll try to go through it again, but still, as of yet, it will be forever in my backlog.
That sucks.
I know.
So I've got quite a few. Most of them are ones I haven't played yet. I'll start with the one that I have played, as I'm looking forward to getting to the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Given that I haven't played it, Mass Effect is my favorite franchise, so I'm looking forward to playing it again. A bunch of other ones that I'm looking forward to that I haven't played yet. The first one I put on here was Witcher 3. That is mainly just because it's such a huge time sink of a game. And I like trying to get through as many games as possible. I'm looking forward to getting to the Crysis Remastered. I never played Crysis originally, and it looks like a really cool shooter. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. And Sekiro, given that I'm a huge Ninja Gaiden fan. And Mark has said that, well, I don't know. I know you said that Sekiro is probably one of your favorite Souls-likes, but is Liza P maybe passing that up?
Too early to tell, but a lot of what I like about Sekiro is also in Liza P, so it's in a good position. I still think I prefer Sekiro more, but Liza P, it just does an interesting job of mixing the strengths of all of From's games while removing a bunch of weaknesses. And I think that it took a bunch of the strengths from Sekiro, but it still fundamentally plays more like Dark Souls or Bloodborne than it does like Sekiro. It's got Sekiro's focus on parrying.
Okay. So, but yeah, those are some of the games that I'm looking forward to. I right now I am working on recovering what's called a bean dive on Xbox. Basically getting my completion percentage back to where it was when I started it. And once I do that, then I'm starting a ton of new games, and I'll be branching out what I'm playing a lot more. So those are definitely some of the ones that I'm looking forward to getting to once I get to that point, which I'm hoping to do before the end of the year. I doubt it. It'll probably be early sometime next year. I'll finally hit that point and be able to because I am a completionist, so I don't start games unless I plan on getting most of the achievements, or at least most of the ones that I feel like I can get.
That seems like such an odd practice to me.
I know. I get help for Melee K all the time. Me and Dude 1286, he's a completionist as well, and she's like, I don't get it. It's like, I know, we're weird like that.
Do you find though that stops you from playing games that you might otherwise absolutely love just because they've got a steep achievements list? Like it seems like an odd thing to use as a requirement to be like, I'm not even going to start this unless I plan to get all of the achievements.
That's something that we have talked about before. I have become more lax on it. Like I used to be like, if I can't get 100% of the achievements, then I'm not even going to bother with the game. I'm more now so like, as long as I can get most of them, I'm okay with playing it. But I'd say the biggest thing that I haven't played because of it is Gears of War game. I played 1, 2, and 3, but I haven't done 4 or 5 and Judgment just because of how ridiculous all the multiplayer achievements are. So if there's something like that, and I really want to play it, I'll play it on my backup alternate gamer tag that I don't care about.
So you don't sully your record.
Exactly. And when I told Melee K that, she's like, "Wait, you have a backup gamer tag?" I'm like, "Yeah, for games for that exact reason." She's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe people do this."
I think that's an odd practice that you should revisit.
So I've never done it, but for people who are like super hardcore about achievement hunting, they'll sometimes boost multiplayer games by themselves with multiple Xboxes, and you need to have multiple gamer tags for that. I've never done that, but there are people that do that as well. No, I never even had more than one Xbox.
No, I'm not making a crack about it. You have the alternate tag. It's like, I've never used it for this reason, of course.
No, I have used my alternate tag to boost some multiplayer achievements for my primary tag, but I've never used 2 Xboxes at the same time to do that. I've always boosted with other people, and maybe we didn't have enough people to fill up the lobby, so I throw in my backup tag to fill another slot in the lobby. So...
but I mean, like, it just seems so weird to do that because then, like, are you achieving it?
Well, I would say in defense of that, it comes down, especially with some older games, if you just don't have even the population to get stuff, you have to create it yourself.
Well, that's true. Or you could not care about the achievement. That's kind of what my point. Like, you know what I mean? Because like, if the idea is this achievement is to show that during this game's multiplayer heyday, you were able to get the most difficult of the multiplayer achievements to achieve, but you did it with a couple of buddies where you let each other shoot each other in the head 20 times in one round or something. Kind of what is the trophy for? It's a stolen trophy.
Most of the multiplayer boosting has just been grindy stuff, like get to level 50, which just takes lots of XP. Like that was one of the big things with the Assassin's Creed multiplayers.
Well, yeah, actually, I mean, that's why I don't have the platinum in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because I was like, okay, this multiplayer sucks, but I was okay with not, because I'm like, okay, well, as much as, hey, you know what, I played enough of this game that I'll go find all the sea shanties and stuff. It's nice, piloting my ship around this universe. So the achievements are an excuse to do more of that. That I'm like, yeah, and then I'll get a little thing for saying I did all of it. But then when I saw it's like, okay, up to level 50 in multiplayer, I'm like, I'm not playing Assassin's Creed multiplayer.
One thing that was nice was that in AC3 and 4, you could do all the multiplayer achievements solo because of they added Wolfpack mode. It was in Brotherhood and Revelations where you had to do it in a group.
Oh, well, I mean, like, even still, I guess I don't see the point in gaming, especially a multiplayer achievement, because it's like, well, I mean, isn't this supposed to say that you defeated other people in this thing? Granted, I don't necessarily think that that getting to level 50 in multiplayer is something that you would need a trophy for. It is, like, you could argue that that's bad achievement design, but I guess, like, my response to bad achievement design is I just don't give a shit about those achievements.
Yeah, most people don't.
Figure out how to get it, because I mean, why not just play on PC and just every time you want all the achievements in a game that you think has BS achievements, just hack them in, like use cheat engine or something.
I mean, I both get it and don't at the same time, because I've done my fair share of achievement chasing back in the day. Even before that, back the old Final Fantasies 8 and 9 especially, I was that guy that I'd reach a point, there'd be a crossroads, and I'd have to make a save because I'm going to go all the way down this way, and then even if that's the way I'm supposed to go, and then come all the way back down this way because I wanted to see everything. I didn't want to miss anything. But then I got older and I learned about save editors, and if I just want to have 100% on some crap achievement that I don't want to deal with, I just tick a box and we're done.
Yeah, I don't do that, especially because
and that's the thing. I think it's at that point that I think most reasonable people should say, okay, why do I care about these?
Yeah, and I know it's dumb, and I know it is. I don't defend it.
Achievement hunting, mainly done through true achievements. That's if you get caught doing that, they will ban your account. So you have to do it, legitimately, which means within the game. Whether you're doing it with other people or other Xboxes doesn't matter. But if you're using, save editing or something, then then you'll get banned for that.
Yeah, this is just for me, so I can look at my Steam achievements, go, hey, it's 100%. Pat myself on the back for the thing that I didn't actually do and move on.
I don't know, man. I would never do like all of my. I can guarantee to any of my viewers, because my Steam account is on my link tree, so anyone can look at it. Every single one of my achievements were things I actually did in the game, for sure. I would almost not want to even take the risk of anyone thinking that my achievements were gained by any means other than the way that you would get them. But also, I don't really care about 100% completion. I have the Steam Platinum, basically, so the 100% achievements in Sekiro and Elden Ring.
Nice.
But I don't think that I would care about either of them if I didn't actually do the thing. Like if I didn't get 100% in the FromSoft super difficult game, I wouldn't see the value in having the thing that says I did,
Yeah, I know I'm weird, and a lot of us achievement hunters are weird like that, but there's also lots of different types of achievement hunters. I'm definitely in the completionist bracket, but yeah, I know it's just I'm weird like that. So, well, that brings us to about an hour and a half, which brings us to the end. So before we wrap up here, I know Beard, you don't actually have a channel of your own. Do you have anything to promote?
I think the only thing that I only have a couple of things coming up. Got to pull up my schedule because I am still new at this and I don't have everything memorized. And since I just show up on random channels, I don't have a schedule. I think Thursday I'll be on with Roman of the Empire. We're getting into was the movie Sanctuary, I think is what it is.
I don't even heard of that one.
Oh no, Prophecy, the Prophecy from 1995. We'll be talking about that. It'll be a first watch for me, so tune into that. It'll be it's 7:00 Central Time, so I guess 5:00 your time over there on the West Coast. And then after that, I think if I have my weeks correctly timed out, it'll be a after the weekend over with Archie and JT Gunn for Weekend Harder on Saturday night.
Oh, that's right. You've been doing that about every other week, right?
Yeah, it's an every other week show, and that's kind of one of the weird things about me just showing up people's chat is I accidentally found myself as a regular on a couple different streams. So
cool.
I don't have a show, but I do technically, I guess.
Yeah, R2 and JT are good guys. There's some other good internet buddies. So yeah, go check out After the Weekend. They do some fun movie discussions, So, Mark, what do you got coming up?
Well, I guess tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, I've got Human Cyborg Relations with my wife, X-Ray Girl. And I don't know, after that, I might be streaming Liza P. I'm hopefully going to kill Lexasia, the complete, this Valkyrie-looking lady that I'm fighting, who is difficult. But I've got her first phase down pretty well. It's just the second phase is rough. What do you think, Rocky?
Puppies.
Also have puppies.
Yep, they're adorable. All right, so what I got coming up next is I got another episode of Open Mic on Thursday, the 12th. It'll be 10 Pacific, so it'll be kind of late night with, you saw him in the chat earlier, Vanquish as AZ. I need to ask him how he pronounces it. We're just going to be talking about, open-ended video game discussion. And then the next episode of Party Chat will be on the 21st, 2 weeks from today. And it will be the last one before Halloween. So we'll be talking about Halloween-based, or not Halloween, but just spooky-based video game questions. I've already got the questions planned out, but I don't have a guest yet. So if anyone wants to be the party chat guest host and talk about spooky games, let me know. So that will do it. Good show. Thank you, Jerry Crow. Love seeing you in here. And anyone else that joined us in chat today, appreciate you showing up. And that will do it for episode 7 of Party Chat. Thank you for joining me, Beard and Mark, as always. And we will see you guys on the next one. Everyone, in the meantime, game on.